A lovely good afternoon. Time now for the news at 12. Let's look at the headlines. The United Party for National Development is emulating PF political manners, charges rights activist BREBNER CHANGALA. The church feels the impact of harsh economic conditions. In our international headlines, Niger's soldiers killed in ambush by suspected jihadist groups. And in sports, Southampton sack manager after just 3 months in charge. We have the details after this message.
What do you know about Zambia? Musivapo chani pari Zambia. Maishivapo shi pachalo chenu. Let your knowledge about Zambia earn you up to 5,000 kwacha cash daily on the Smart Quiz. For you to be part of this empowering show, all you have to do is subscribe daily with 10 kwacha only. Dial *265 *13990 hash on any network. Questions will be posted every morning on the BREBNER TV and General Consult Facebook page and Camnet TV Facebook page. Follow our Facebook pages so that you do not miss out. On the 14th of February 2023 at 18:30 on Camnet TV, channel 274 on DSTV, 98 on GoTV, and channel 106 on Topstar. Be entertained, educated, and empowered on the Smart Quiz. Be smart.
Are you looking for a prime land where to build your dream house? There is a beautiful corner plot, 50 by 47 meters in State Road area. For viewing and purchasing of the same, call SGK Property Company on 0966 610755 or 0762 166018. Secure your future by settling in a nice and peaceful area.
On Monday, 13th February 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Mr. Harry Kalawa, President of Citizens First.
The process might end up being slowed because of that. I think the way forward for Zambia is to begin bringing all creators on board, begin talking to creators on board. If need be, they need to begin engaging creators on a bilateral basis.
As they discuss how effective is the opposition in Zambia, and does criticism come out of jealous or is positively building the nation?
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages.
On DSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
With the news in detail, my name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. A clergyman has charged that some worshippers have stopped giving tithes and offerings owing to the high cost of living the country is witnessing. Apostle Christopher Kunda of the Presence of God Ministries says the economy is not doing fine at the moment, thereby forcing Zambians to live in abject poverty. Apostle Kunda has since called on the government to resolve the prevailing social and economic challenges.
Of how best we can govern this country. For your information, government is not government, does not exist for itself. Government exists for the country. Government exists for the people. And the people are the government. They usher the government into power. And the people have a say on how their government must manage the affairs of the country. And this is why we will continue to be open, we will continue to be accommodative both at party level and at government level to ensure that we can allow various stakeholders, including the church, to provide the much needed checks and balances. And we do know that this privilege and this good gesture by government can be abused. We have seen many church institutions, we have seen many individuals, political parties abuse this wonderful privilege. But that will not deter the UPND government and its alliance partners from engaging. It will not deter us from extending an olive branch to those that want to come and beef up and assist us in governing better. For a government to do well, for a government to govern better, it can only do so with the contribution and input, constructive input of various stakeholders, including the church.
Opposition Patriotic Front PF Chilubi constituency member of parliament Mlenga Fube has described the United Party for National Development as an amateur administration. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Fube alleges that the UPND government has been handling national affairs through experiments. He has advised the UPND administration to be honest and admit its alleged failure to address the economic hardships affecting the country. Meanwhile, Mr. Fube has urged the government to prioritize industrialization through Zambians and not foreign direct investments.
It is undeniable that industrialization stimulates job creation and untimely raises the standards of living for all citizens. For quite some time, there has been a shift to move toward industrialization in the recognition that this is the best route to rekindling Zambia's economy. Opposition Patriotic Front Chilubi area member of parliament Mlenga Fube says the economic challenges that Zambia is facing should motivate the country toward industrialization. He says industrialization is not about the UPND administration, but all Zambians, and this calls for everyone to come on board and drive the agenda. The lawmakers also urged the UPND administration to exercise the right attitude toward it.
So we need to create employment within Zambia, and the only route to go is to industrialize, and we should have a formula that all of us can buy in. This is not about the UPND government only, it's about Zambia. And I think if it's about Zambia, everybody has to come in on board, and the UPND as a ruling government, ruling party should exercise the right attitude towards industrialization. Not these experiments that we are seeing. Today they experiment this, the other day they experiment this, and all of them are failing. And I think we need to come to such a position where we have to appreciate that things have failed. And that will be the beginning of our success.
Meanwhile, Mr. Fube has called on the UPND administration to be honest and admit of failing to address the economic hardship being faced in the country.
But what I'm also calling for is that Zambia for now should continue in key economic sectors, should continue to run a mixed economy, not where we dump everything to the private sector. We have seen that experiment has failed us, and I think continue experimenting by even killing the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, which was left to see how they can sustain state-owned, so that the participation of government directly in the economy can also be facilitated through that particular window. So when we are talking about industrialization, it's quite key, and it cannot be avoided, especially in a nation like this. We cannot just leave industrialization through the foreign direct investment, because the industrialization that comes through that window is facing challenges like capital flight, and many factors come in, where at the end of the day, if it means tapping of the natural resources like copper ore, cobalt, and many other factors, they are processed elsewhere.
Zambia has the fortune of being a peaceful and stable country, thus attractive for investors as evidenced in recent years. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Civil rights activist BREBNER CHANGALA has observed that arresting opposition political party leaders on what he terms as flimsy ground is undermining President Hakainde Hichilema's resolve to improve Zambia's human rights and democratic profiles. Mr. CHANGALA holds the view that it was not necessary to arrest Patriotic Front aspiring President Chimbaka Mbweli for unlawful assembly. He says the United Party for National Development, UPND, will not be any different from the PF administration if it engages in a crackdown on opposition political party leaders.
I'm convinced that this malpractice, abuse of power, is being engineered from State House and not from the Ministry of Home Affairs. We are having a challenge here that two senior constables the IG being the #1 constable and Siandenge #2 constable, have issues with the previous regime and the previous politicians. Mr. Siandenge went into hiding as a fugitive, came back as a hero and commissioner at State House. Mr. IG was retired in national interest, brought back because they were victimized, quote unquote. And they have a point to prove that they are in charge. And they are proving their point wrongly by reducing the parameters of the freedom of association, freedom of communication.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy, Executive Director Samuel Banda has reminded the government to unlock the mining sector by giving Konkola Copper Mines KCM back to Vedanta. Addressing the media on Sunday, 12 February, Mr. Banda explains that the mining sector is Zambia's main earner of foreign exchange, hence the need to maximize production. He adds that unlocking the mining sector will help create jobs and open business opportunities for suppliers and contractors in the mining sector. Details are in this report.
Mining is a major economic sector in Zambia, contributing significantly to the country's government revenue, mainly through mining royalties and value-added tax VAT. However, Zambia's Konkola Copper Mines has been a major contributor to Zambia's mining profile. With the coming of the United Party for National Development UPND upon taking over office, opted to resolve matters pertaining to KCM outside the courts. However, the discussions seem to have protracted, thus affecting the country's economy, especially the hosting province being the Copper Belt. Stakeholders continue to remind the government to expedite the process of handing over the mine to Vedanta.
We have witnessed with sadness small businesses are shutting down because the cost of doing business has gone up, leading to mass unemployment levels. Fellow citizens, if this situation is left unchecked, we are afraid we should expect more misery in our country. We therefore wish to appeal to the government to unlock the mining sector. Mining is our primary industry, and Zambia's economic development is dependent on the mining industry, as it accounts the largest part of our GDP. And mining is our main earner of forex.
Advocates for National Development and Democracy ANDD Executive Director Samuel Banda has emphasized on the need to unlock the mining sector to improve the country's economic position.
We are insisting in good faith that government should hand over KCM to Vedanta Resources as the legal owners, as a matter of urgency and as a remedy to rescue a free foreign kwacha against the US dollar. By giving Vedanta the mine, KCM, we believe that jobs will be secured, business opportunities will be secured, and our performance, the performance of our currency, will tremendously improve because of forex will be injected in our economy.
He has warned that poverty levels will worsen on the Copper Belt if the government does not address the issue of KCM. Beatrice Chabaya, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In our international news, the Orthodox Church in Ethiopia has called off demonstrations planned for Sunday following a meeting with Prime Minister. The protest follows the creation of a breakaway synod by Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church bishops in Oromia. Breakaway bishops accused the church of discrimination and linguistic and cultural saying congregations in Oromia are not served in their native language, claims rejected by the Patriarch. Meanwhile, several Niger soldiers have been killed in an attack by suspected jihadists near to the Mali border amid ongoing violence in the region. We have details in this report.
At least 10 soldiers died in an ambush in southwestern Niger close to the border with Mali by a group described as armed terrorists. Government sources say the death toll from Friday's attack is expected to rise as 16 people are still missing and others were wounded. The troops were on patrol in the north of Banibangu department when they faced an assault by rebels described as a jihadist group. Last week, armed groups stormed a camp in the Tahua area housing refugees from neighboring Mali. 9 people were killed in the attack. According to the United Nations, over 61,000 Malian refugees currently shelter in Tahua and Tiliberi. After the departure of French soldiers from Mali last year and a scheduled pullout shortly from Burkina Faso, France will only station 3,000 troops in the Sahel region, including Niger and Chad, where jihadist groups roam. All the countries involved are former French colonies. The Orthodox Church in Ethiopia has called off demonstrations planned for Sunday following a meeting with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The protests followed the creation of a breakaway synod by Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo church bishops in Oromia over claims of linguistic and cultural hegemony by church leaders. The Holy Synod has postponed the February the 12th peaceful demonstrations for an indefinite period of time, he says. This is not because of a change of position, but because of the government's agreement and decision to solve the problem immediately, within the deadline set by the Church, which opened its doors for peace. At least 30 people have been killed in protests over the past week, and social networks have been restricted. It follows claims by breakaway bishops the church was discriminating against them over the use of their own language in Oromia. Nigerian presidential candidate Peter Obi has spoken to thousands of supporters at a rally in Lagos ahead of elections this month. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission said elections would go ahead as scheduled this month, despite growing tensions around currency and fuel shortages.
The last time I think I've been voting for PDP. Yes, I started voting in 2011, and it has been PDP, yes. But this time around, I'm not voting party. I'm voting an individual that I believe will rescue me, rescue my family, rescue my future. It's been pretty difficult living as a Nigerian. In fact, we're only surviving as a Nigerian. So we want to live. We want to make some meaningful living out of our life.
The election scheduled for 25th of February is a very close race to succeed President Muhammadu Buhari, who's stepping down after 2 terms in office.
But since he came out to declare for president, there is no single case. We've not heard EFCC dragging him up and down. This goes a long way to show that he has nothing to hide. And it gives us a whole lot of confidence that there is nothing to hide. And when he gets to office, he will judiciously execute his duties as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that's why he's our only, or my only preferred candidate for this 2023.
Obi has gained popularity in the past 2 years, especially on social networks, and he's benefited from increased political awareness among young people who revolted in October 2020 during a protest movement against police violence.
That's in our international news. Time now for sports. Southampton have sacked manager Nathan Jones after just 95 days in charge of the Premier League club. Former Luton Town boss Jones, 49, leaves with Saints bottom of the table after Saturday's loss to 10-man Wolves. The Welshman, who is Southampton's shortest-serving boss in the Premier League era, lost 9 of 14 matches after taking the job on 10th November. That record included 8 defeats in 9 Premier League games and 4 successive home losses at St. Mary's. First-team coaches Chris Cohen and Alan have also left the club, while lead coach will take charge of Saturday's Premier League match at Chelsea. Thank you so much for watching. Before we go, the headlines once again. The UPND is emulating PF political manners, charges rights activist BREBNER CHANGALA. The church feels the impact of harsh economic conditions. Niger soldiers killed in ambush by suspected jihadist groups. Southampton sacked manager after just 3 months in charge. Thank you so much for watching. Good afternoon.